was so beautiful.
Yeah, Sam Spencer, I have to give some of my crew some love.
Please,
yeah.
please.
I mean, so Sam Spencer was on board with me, and he was the DP, and so we traveled together on that. And he did a fantastic job throughout the film. And you know, there were a lot of times that I'd be calling him at the last minute, like, "Hey, let's just go film him out for the night." And Sam was pretty flexible, and he did. I mean, first of all, he's a fantastic filmmaker, so it was just great having him on board. And then Ian Schneider, you know, did sound for me, and he did a great job. And then, you know, Scott Piddock, Aaron Smith, Matt Walker composed for me, and Alexander Hamilton did all the mixing for me. MJ Peters, she's not here tonight, but she helped, you know, associate producer on it. So I had a really tight group of people that, you know, kind of worked. But it was a lot of times it was just Sam and I and Dean, and then, you know, occasionally when we could get Ian was always so busy, he'd jump on board too, and then so it you know, worked out pretty well.
Let me ask you a question about some of those shots early on, right at the very beginning. The establishing shot, I believe, is looking up.
Yeah.
At you, Dean. So I assume that was.
Yeah, we were just kind of. I felt like, you know, I have a comic background, meaning comic book background, not you know, when you used to draw cartoons and stuff, and you know, I said enough illustration is, you know, you can really represent somebody differently by shooting up on them. And because of Dean's height and stuff, I wanted to show him as, you know, I wanted to levitate him more and give people an opportunity to understand him. Instead of judging them, I wanted to look at him from a different angle.
By the way, for those who don't know, Dave is also an incredible painter, truly oil painter, commercial painters. Dean, so can you talk a little bit more about this experience? Was there any time along the way where you thought, this is too much, this is too probing, he keeps asking about me, talking to my brother and telling him that I love him. Did this making of this film in any way change you or your relationship with others, or how you see yourself on the big screen?
Well, I think, you know, it's uncomfortable, most of it, you know, because it's like an onion being peeled and looking straight at it. But got to the point where I thought the reason I should do this film was that it would maybe help other people, wherever they have Aspergers or whatever it is, where they're just normal people just trying to, you know, figure things out. And so it got to the point where I thought, I could actually, even though it was difficult, it was something worth doing because, you know, it could, you know, make a statement or bring me to a point where I can, you know, have more self-acceptance, if nothing else. Self-acceptance for others as well.
It's courageous, it's brave. I don't want to embarrass you, put you on the spot, but it truly is.
Yeah, it is, but I think it came out, you know, worth it. That's the most important part.
So Dave, a moment ago, and we'll take questions here in a moment, a little bit ago you were talking about how you had sort of these preconceived ideas about Dean, and you thought, oh, this would make for an interesting film, you'd like to find out more about him. But how about for you? Was this process something for you to maybe look inward or to see the world in a different way?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm fortunate that I work with Boys Town and other organizations, and so nonprofits. I think I took it was not Myers-Briggs, I think it was Strength Minders or something once, and they said, basically, I'm going to do advertising nonprofit work. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty much what ended up happening. But I don't know. It's so easy to get into judgments. Dean and I had this discussion. There was somebody just lately, he's like, Dave, I kind of had this judgment about him. And so it kind of gave him a second perspective on things too, actually. And I thought, for me, my job is to help people think, right? Like, and try to get them in. You know, we had 21 hours of footage, and you got to take it and put it in an hour and a half. So.
Dean, did this film change your impression or your initial impressions of Dave that you had? Do you see him differently now?
I just want to say that meeting Dave was probably the biggest blessing in my life. I'm so fortunate to have this experience, and he's the one that made it happen. And also, I don't want to, I think in the movie it showed, we talked about numerology, and we kind of did that. I don't want to bore you or to go through this thing, just take my word for it. But in numerology too is the number of love and compassion. And Omaha adds up to 2. And they have done to the T, have given me love and compassion and affection. You met it totally is what it is. And Omaha has been very, very good to me. If it wasn't for you, it wasn't for Omaha, this never would have happened. It would have been gone a long time ago.
Take some questions.
And Dean, you're my brother, by the way. So you are now.
So the lights are a little shaggy as well.
Question in the back.
Please. Yes. Yes.
So Dean, on behalf of the city that loves you so much, you think maybe you could go to Washington and take some of that love with you? That would be super awesome. No pressure.
I don't think they would listen to me anymore.
Yes, right here in front.
For Dean, I have a question. I am a mom of an adult who has autism. Do you have any advice for young men with autism and going about figuring out what they should do?
So briefly, in case you couldn't hear it, she's a mom with a child with an adult son with autism, and the other part of that.
And just any advice that Dean has in finding your way in life with autism.
I just think you gotta trust yourself. I mean, back in maybe in the mid-90s, I was having trouble, and I didn't know really what to do about it, but I just, decided I was just gonna do the best I could and see what happened.